Good morning, Giants. Welcome to the Park Bench. It's Nick Smith. I'm right here with Michael Baker out of Florida. We had some technical issues, but I think we've got it resolved here. And Mike, you go by Mike, is that right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. And we're gonna talk about whatever comes up. So if you want to coach, we'll coach. If you want to just talk, we'll talk. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works for me. Whatever. I'm open.
Okay. I'm gonna let you lead the way as far as
Yeah.
conversation. So did you have something in mind that you wanted to cover? Is there something going on for you in your world that you want to talk about?
I got my book coming out soon. It's Within You. It's a book on just how to the way to live life. Living a principle centered life. Following the principles of the Bible and everything. I found that through coaching others and studying all the works of all the other coaches throughout the years. Napoleon Hill and Norman Vincent Peale and everyone else, all the principles that they teach are pretty much straight out the Bible. It's all
Yeah.
about confession, admission, seeing yourself for who you are and pursuing your passion, developing a desire for it. You got to have a definiteness of purpose in life.
Yeah, let's dive into you a little bit. Let's go back in your history and tell us a little bit about your experience before we go into that book. Kind of what's gone on for you in your world and what got you to this point.
Well, it's just my fate. It's carried me through everything that I've been through in my life. Over the years, I've had a lot of trials and tribulations and been through a lot of things that most everybody deals with at some point in life, whether it be through relationships and, family dynamics and just being able to come to terms with everything and accepting yourself has been the biggest challenge, and taking responsibility. That's the hardest thing for
Yeah,
most
tell me.
everybody. I find that a lot of us will take on responsibility for things that we have no control over, and yet we'll avoid responsibility for the things that we ourselves do.
Well, let me talk about you. Let's talk about you
Yeah.
specifically around that. What are
Mhm.
some areas that you feel like you learned to take responsibility in?
For my own actions, I found that well, I grew up in an alcoholic home. We went through the dysfunction of that and everything, and I picked up. Um, I was a substance abuser growing up too in my childhood, teenage years and stuff, and I um, went through several rehabs and things of that nature. And it wasn't until later on in life that I that things come back around again. Everything what goes around comes around. The karma thing.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
wasn't until a lot of the things that I had treated the way I treated others and everything's like everything else. It wasn't until that happened to me that I was able to take responsibility for myself and see within myself how everything came about, because we're where we are at in life because of the choices we ourselves have made,
Yeah.
and it's until we take responsibility and hold ourselves accountable for it to reach maturity, and that's
I'm curious
where.
about this. If we can dive into that a little bit, that
Mm.
responsibility, that's a big thing. If a person's not able to take responsibility for their life, then there's not much to change, right? Because they feel like all the responsibility is outside of them, like other people are doing it, or they don't have
Yeah.
control or they don't have a say. And so I'm curious around that. How open are you willing to be around this, around your experience? Like what, and you decide the depth that you want to go here.
Oh,
But
today my life is an open book.
yeah,
That's what true freedom comes from. Is not having nothing to hide from anybody or any for any reason. Be true to yourself.
yeah,
Open honesty, communication. That's the way to build the relationships. Is built on honesty and trust.
yeah,
But a lot of people they don't. The self awareness comes in because a lot of people, we live in denial of a lot of things, and a lot of our old beliefs and everything. That because growing up, we form these certain habits and everything, and then to justify our habits, we form these beliefs around them. Well, I've always done it this way it will always be. And everything. But it's until we learn to let go of those things and see things for as they really are that we can change them. It's self awareness.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Mike. I want to dive into your world still. I want to go into you. Before I can build value in the book, it's helpful to know your background. So you talked
Right.
about growing up in an alcoholic family, that you yourself got into. Was it drugs and alcohol, or just drugs, or?
Drugs, alcohol, and women. I used a lot of people to
Yeah,
meet my own needs due to my own insecurities. Because I didn't want to face my fears and deal with the self doubt and everything else like that. And wasn't until you're able to let go of them fears and the self doubts and your false beliefs of your past, situations. This and it was I grew up how after a while, people see you a certain way and they come to expect you to act a certain way and do certain things because that's the way you've always been. And a lot of times it's ourselves that think that way, that other people expect us to be a certain way and everything else like that. And we try and live up to those expectations that we think other people have on us due to
yeah,
our
yeah.
past histories.
Isn't that interesting? Like it all occurs in our world. So, the only thing we have is our perception, and that perception really kind of defines how we show up in the world. So if we start to see it as a negative place, we show up negatively. If we see it as positive, we show up positively. If it's everybody else's problem, it becomes everybody else's problem. It just self-fulfills in so many levels.
Right.
Yeah.
And people that see themselves as victims, they victimize others because,
Mm.
misery loves company.
Yeah, interesting. Tell me more about that. People that see themselves as victims victimize others. Tell me more about that.
um, well, they sabotage themselves and their relationships and things of that nature because they don't feel worthy of them.
Yeah, and so they project that on others.
Yeah, and if you ain't got that self confidence and the courage in yourself to face your fears and everything else like that, and you're in denial of them, you rebel against people that are, trying to help you, and you see them as being self righteous and things of that nature, and it's not so. Even though somebody's trying to help you, they're trying to point something out to you, but you don't always want to see it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Has
You
that
know,
happened for you?
Oh yeah, in several situations and in my own life. I mean, I ran from a lot of things for a lot of years that I didn't want to face.
Yeah, tell me more. Like, go into it, if you will. Dive into it. Like, what are some things that you put on others?
um, well, yeah, I mean, it's how we feel about ourselves that we project onto others. Like when you find that you're in judgment of somebody for something else, the things that you're in judgment of others for, you find are within yourself. The lack of trust, the insecurities, and everything that are within us,
Yeah,
and we hold others in judgment of it to justify our own actions a lot of times.
yeah, yeah. Wow.
You know,
I mean,
I
this
I
is deep. Keep going.
and in relationships, when you get to that point, the way you treat others and stuff like that, you see other people as being the same way as you are, and you project that onto them, and you
Yeah,
make accusations and things like of that nature because of the fears that you have and the things that that you dwell on. It's like Tony Robbins says, where the focus goes, the energy flows.
right.
And when you dwell on things in your mind, you create an environment for them. I was in a relationship with somebody else that was using substances at the time, and they hid stuff from me, and I didn't know what was going on, so I accused them of pretty much everything, under the
Yeah,
sun. Because you're not knowing, you don't know, and if somebody's in denial of it, they're not going to come out and tell you, I'm this is what's going on with me,
yeah.
and so they hide things from you, and then I accused them of other things and stuff like that, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But you got to have the faith that things are going to work out for the
Yeah,
best.
wow. Let's talk about that, because you're talking about this idea that when we don't know the story, we start projecting and putting that on others. Like, we
Hmm.
start accusing them of things that they maybe haven't done, but because it's so real in our mind, we put it over there, and then it does become real. It starts to fulfill.
Yes, yes, you create the environment for it.
Yeah.
It
Wow,
it
Mike.
and that and if you fear of losing, yeah, I feared that my wife was going to leave, this, that, and everything else and everything. And then after dwelling on it for about 6, 8 months or whatever, however long it was, I pushed her away
Yeah. Wow.
and doing accusing her of things and everything else like that and everything. And eventually she left. It was, like I said, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. So
You
what
know,
did
but
that wake up in you? Like, how did that wake you up to how you were showing up?
because, like I said, it's karma. What comes around goes around. You know,
Okay.
everything that she did to me, and you know, with the drugs and alcohol, and wound up, you know, leaving me for somebody else and everything else like that. Everything that she did to me were the same things that I've done to other people in my life. You know, I had to look at it. You know, like I said, you don't realize what the effect it has on somebody until the things you have done have been done unto you. You know, it's like the golden rule. You know, you treat others as you wish to be treated, and do unto others as you wish to have done unto you. And that's the way I try and live my life today, is setting the example for others
Yeah,
and living that
I
way.
see a commitment to that is really when you start living it for yourself, right? Others see
Yes.
that, they're inspired by it. It's not that we can live the life for others or force them or push them to live that way, but if you choose to live into it a new way, then notice how much people will start to be inspired and follow that for themselves. It's not your doing, it's your inspiration. Does that make sense?
Yes, exactly. And that's the goal of everything, is to be the inspiration for the determination to reach a destination, you know,
Okay. All
to reach
right.
your potential in life. That's kind of what the book is all about, you know, is helping others to see themselves, you know, as they wish to be, and becoming who you wish to be, you know, being true to yourself in every way, shape possible, you know,
Let
letting
me
go of
ask you, yeah,
the
was
false
that
pretenses and ulterior motives.
yeah. Has that been easy for you to transition, to transform from where you were to where you are right now?
It it took many years.
Uh, yeah,
I'm 50 years old, you know, so
okay.
it took many years. You know, you get little awakenings here and there and everything, but it wasn't until this past year. I don't know that I got the spirit within me. You know, it just came over me one night, and everything just clicked.
Okay. Interesting.
You know, and
Can
it
we
been
can
through
we
prayer,
talk?
meditation, and
Yeah.
working things out within myself. You know, you gotta face your fears and do what you need to do for yourself, and not worry about what others think and how what others, you know, you got to start taking care of yourself. You got to put yourself first, because if you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of anybody else. You know, you got to love yourself for who you are and share that with others. That's the whole point. You know,
Mike, I hear in your journey here that you were pretty unconscious for a lot of your life. You did a lot of things that you weren't even aware of or weren't aware of how they were affecting others. And then you had
oh,
this awakening, right? Where you have
yep,
this moment of realization of, wow, that's what I'm putting out there and that's what's coming back to me. And then
yep,
this awareness of, I don't want to do that anymore, and this commitment to transform it into something better for yourself.
yep,
And I would venture to say that the journey has been um, one of learning, difficulty, awakening in different areas, new lessons, new learnings at different levels. Like as you clear out one, another one comes up. Am I accurate in that?
yeah, and a lot of it is, I mean, like you said, I was kind of unconscious a lot of my life. You know, that just brought me back. You know, in my teenage years. You know, from like 14 to 19, 20 years old, I lived in a blackout 3, 4 days out the week, and people would tell me the next day the things I had done the night before. You know, I wouldn't even know what I had done. People would just tell me, you know, about the things that I had done. And it's like, yeah, okay. One of my favorite sayings was, it wasn't me, it was the other guy, you know, that kind of thing. But
Yeah. Do you say
yeah.
that much anymore? Do you put it
No,
over there?
I haven't seen those days in almost 30 years since the last time I had a blackout. I mean, I don't need it anymore. You know, growing up, you know, like I said, the home I grew up in, I had an older brother. I was, you know, and everything. It was always, you know, I'd never be good enough. I could never be anything, this, that, and everything else. And I was the scapegoat for pretty much everything. And I got to a point, you know, in early childhood where I felt, you know, I had to always prove myself. I was an egomaniac, you know, with an inferiority complex, you know, and I chose the drugs, the alcohol, and women as a way of proving myself, you know, and that's how I
Mm,
lived my life for a lot of years.
yeah. Wow. So now from that space, you've created something different for yourself. You're writing a book.
Mhm.
You're stepping into what I hear most though, Mike, is that you're stepping into that ownership completely. Like it's no longer anybody else's responsibility for you to be who you can be. Is that accurate?
Right, exactly. It all begins and ends with us. It's we got to make that decision for ourselves.
Yeah, what a realization. I think about that. Like you go through your life mostly unconscious. You haven't
Yeah,
awakened. It
yep.
doesn't matter when, but you go through your life unconscious, and it's like it's all out there. It's their fault. They did this to me. I didn't do this. I don't have any control. And then when you have that awareness and awakening, it doesn't make it easier, but you start
No,
to realize that nobody else has a say in your life unless you let them.
exactly. Yep. You gotta be able to set your boundaries, and maintain that. You can't let people take your kindness for weakness. I try and help everybody in every way possible, but I've had my own company for 30 years. Since I was 21, I've had my own company. I've always had my own businesses. I've always been self-employed. And now, I'm taking everything to the next level with my companies and my life and everything, just moving forward. And it's a work in progress, like everything else. You live and learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's beauty in that it is a work in progress. It doesn't mean that we do it
Yep.
perfectly.
No, nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
everything everything takes time to mature and develop.
So as you're stepping into this new space, how has that been for you?
Um, it's been pretty amazing for the most part. A lot of things just seem to just fall in place, and a lot of the connections that I've made with people over the last couple of years have been the support I've gotten has been unbelievable. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and everything else like that. And I don't run no paid funnels or nothing like that. I have my group and everything, but no paid advertising or something like that. I got probably close to 12,000 followers. I got 900 people in my group. And that's no paid advertising or nothing like that. That's just straight up just building relationships with people, working with people. Not in our COVID, I've done podcasts with Russ Johns from Pirate Radio Broadcast, Pivot 180 broadcaster webcast, just a bunch of different people. The connections I've made and things have just really everything. My whole life's just turned right around. And a lot of it has to do with who we choose to associate with, and that has a lot to do with it. Bad character corrupts good morals. you know. But I try and associate with people that are doing the things that I want to do today. To learn from them. Everybody can learn from somebody. Everybody. Nobody knows everything.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. There's absolutely no end to the possibilities for learning. So what's next for you? What do you want to? So you've got your book. What's kind of your vision? If you were to vision your future, let's talk about that. What does the future look like for you? Like, let's say 5 years from now, where do you hope to be?
Within the next 5 years, well, like I said, 2 years ago, my wife left, and then last August, my house burnt down. But, like I say, everything for me is all about relationships. I build relationships with people, my customers and everything. I've had my fencing and landscape company for 14 years, and I still have the same customers I started with 14 years ago. When my house burned down, my customer said, we have a place down here. You're welcome to stay at our place while your house is being done and everything. So I've been staying there. I take care of the people that take care of me. Kind of thing. That's what it's all about. Is taking care of each other. And now this past month, my wife, her and the kids have returned. We're back together as a family again. I want to get we're getting our new house built. Getting the book published. I'm gonna start doing more of the life coaching, taking that more on a full-time level, and move my company from being a space where, when I started the company, like I said, it's always been about the relationships I have with everybody and everything else like that, and my customers. But it's always I've been the company. I want to be the company owner. I don't want to be the company no longer. I got people that are working for me now that I trust out in the field. And I'm going to have them doing the work and everything. I'll sell the jobs and do the estimates and everything else like that, but I'm no longer going to be the company. I want to be the company owner and not the company. I had to separate myself
Yeah.
from it. more
Can
so
I
that the
can I give
company
you
can
some
grow on its
language
own.
around this
Yeah.
vision that you have? So if you were to speak about that vision in the present tense, right? To really
Mhm.
look at it as though it already is, even though it's 5 years from now, this is a hard thing for a lot of people. Is they speak in terms of I want to be that, one day I'll be that, my goal is this, but it's always in the process of. Does that make sense? So like
Yes.
in 5 years, I'll be working toward that, and but it's always in that process, never the achievement. And so,
Right.
like when we set our goals, we set them from the how to. Well, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take that path. And then we don't let the vision just be the vision. Like if you were describing your day 5 years from now, like it was right now in this moment,
Mhm.
like you're telling a friend about it. Like I'm
Yep.
sitting here in the park, and my company is running itself. I've got two guys that are working the company. I'm back together with my family. I mean, it's incredible to see the change in 5 years of where I was 5 years ago to today. And you're speaking
Yeah.
about that 5 year future event as though it's right now in this moment. Because
Yeah.
the reality of it is when you get to that space, you're going to be speaking about it in this moment, right? Does that
Yep.
make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes. It's like they say when you pray for something, you got to believe that you already have it. You got to keep that vision in the forefront and fill in the gap between what's going to get you from here to there.
Yeah. So when you write that vision, that Habakkuk, right? Habakkuk 2:2 in the
Yep.
Bible, it talks about creating the vision and writing the vision so clearly that the messenger that takes it will know what's being talked about so that
Yep.
can be fulfilled in its time, right? So when you're looking at your future and you're creating your vision of 5 years from now of future Mike, I would invite you for a moment here to just sit with that. Like, what does that feel like 5 years from now when all this is realized?
Just enjoyment, just to be able to sit back and see my what I've accomplished, and to get the feedback from others more on they have to, how do I put it? just just to know the impact and the influence that I've had on other people's lives, how it's changed their lives. There's been like I say, I'm going to be doing a TED talk similar to Simon Sinek's. He talked about his, finding your why. And that's a lot of it has to do with that. Finding, you got to have your definiteness of purpose in life. And for me, it's to set the example for others. Hold on. Mm, mm, mm. My wife was just saying goodbye. She taking off going somewhere, but all right.
Good. Let's keep going. So you have that definiteness of purpose. You're out there taking ownership of your life. You're taking responsibility for your life. Um, how does that show up for you? A lot of what I hear in a lot of people is that they say the words, they know the words. And what I want to know from you, Mike, is how are you living those words? So it's not just something you say, it's something that you do.
Right. It's the applied actions. Your actions got to be in line with your intentions. How are you going to reach that point? You got to develop that strategy. How are you going to? Like I said, right now I'm working on my book. I got 20 pages left to do on my book, and then when that gets published, and I got my guys working right now on a job site. But then when we're done with that, we got the property to clean up over there to start getting a new house together. I got a lot of things in motion, so I'm constantly busy right now with everything, but it's just I'm still trying to get to the point where I don't have to do everything myself. I still have a hard time with trusting others to get done the things that need to get done, more or less. I feel like a lot of things I feel like I got to do myself or they don't get done. And a lot of times if I don't do things myself, they don't get done. So I got a lot of priorities in my life right now that really they're they're taking me away from other things that I know need to be done. But the other thing, they have to get done, but they don't have to be done right now. They're not urgent, but it's just taking care of all the urgency, everyday life situations right now that are keeping me from pursuing my dream to the next, taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I use a lot of it's been, I was waiting for my wife to come back, and I wanted her to be a part of the life coaching program and everything else like that. And I was waiting for the book to get published. I was coming up with excuses.
Yeah.
And that kept me in that mode of procrastination and not moving forward. So I'm working through that now to just move it forward and get out of the mode of procrastination in that area. But I have to trust the people I got working for me to do their jobs more and not do everything myself, not try and do everything.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
To I say just getting my book published, getting the house built. There's a lot of next. But right now, my main goal right now, my focus is keeping the company, the daily operations of the company going, and getting the book published right now. And then after the book's published, then I want to get onto the TED Talk, and then I want to work on taking the life coaching to the next level.
Yeah. Mike, outside of what you shared so far, what else do you want to share? What else do you want to talk about?
Just making the transition, and how
let's talk about it. What questions do you have? Questions around it? Do you have thoughts around it?
I think it's just, I don't know. Most everybody that I deal with, other life coaches and stuff like that, they say I should be, obtaining, being able to make money at it and everything else like that. But I haven't really even tried pushing the issue, too much. I've done a lot of posts on there, for people just to message me that if they need help with anything or anything, but I haven't really pushed the issues. The only people that have actually reached out to me were other life coaches, and most of them, from what we've talked about, and they've implemented the things that we've discussed and everything. They've been able to do it for themselves, but I just haven't done it for myself yet, kind of thing.
Yeah. So that transition into coaching to making it a business that provides for you, right?
Yes.
Do you have fears around asking for money around it? So, Mike, do you have fears around your business, around people seeing the value or asking for money?
Yeah, because I don't want to. Well, I try keeping it more my coaching as more of a ministry, a discipleship training kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's it's just having the faith to reach prosperity. To figure out your definition of purpose, but it's find out what you enjoy in life, what you want to be your best at. And being able to prosper in it once you reach that level.
Okay.
But I haven't even really tried to really make any profit off anything. But I'm thinking of just doing it under a donation basis to keep it more as a ministry, my Facebook group.
Yeah.
But then I've been thinking of doing a Kajabi site, a subscription-based site, or a YouTube channel that's subscription-based.
Yep.
And working with people out of a group there where it's just, a minimal fee monthly to subscribe to the channel, and where I can interact with people and help them, not charge outrageous fees. I mean, I've done podcasts with Grant Cardone and them and stuff like that. I can't justify that myself. The kind of rates that other people charge.
Yeah.
10,000 for a weekend or 100,000 for a year. Normal everyday people can't afford that. I want to try and, I want to be open to help. But for me, it's about people. I put people over profits,
Okay.
and attraction over promotion. People got to want to change. I don't care how much money somebody has or anything else like that. If they don't want to change the behaviors, they're not going to. I mean, it's as simple as that. They got to want it.
Yeah.
And it's about, like I said, I try and put people over profits and attraction over promotion. I know it wasn't until I was ready to stop that I actually stopped. It didn't matter how many rehabs I went through or anything, it was all on me.
Right.
It begins and ends with us.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
man, I love what you're up to. Just where do you feel you need support today?
Today I don't need the well, I have I have an awesome support system. I mean, the people, my customers, my family. I don't. As far as support goes, I mean, everybody. Uh, with everything that's going on with my house burning, the family, and everything. The only problem I have in this world is financial problems. I mean, as
Yeah.
far as support and family and everything, I couldn't ask for any more.
Yeah. I hear you.
It's been through losing everything that I've learned to appreciate everything.
Yeah.
It's keeping that attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. Mike, what else do you want to share? What else do you want to talk about?
Well, just to let everybody know, that you can do it. Anything, believe in yourself. Build the confidence in yourself. Meet your own expectations, not the expectations of others. Follow through has a lot to do with everything in life. I mean, if you ain't willing to follow through on something, you're not going to build up the confidence in yourself to do other things. You got to know, you got to push yourself every day to be better in every way. That's kind of my goal, is just to keep getting better, doing the podcast, talking to people, getting the word out there. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve, but you got to believe in it. And
Yeah.
and like I said, a lot of it is finding that inner peace in yourself, getting in touch with the spirit within yourself. And that's where it's at. Find out what's written upon your heart. What is it that you want to do? What's your thing in life? You got to figure it out for yourself and develop the passion to achieve it. You can do it, but you got to put away to get past the expectations of others, the labels others place on you. You got to see your own worth for yourself,
Right.
and know what you're capable of. Not being afraid to try. Get rid of that, kick that self doubt out. Get rid of that self doubt and that fear. In the Bible, 365 times in the Bible, it says, do not fear. Once for every day. Do not fear. You got to get over it, get past it.
Yeah.
You got to
Perfect.
face it, overcome it. And you got to set your sights higher than what everything I kept feeling, when my sights weren't set high enough.
Yeah.
My thing today is, I told you, I said, aim for the moon and be happy among the stars. You can reach that level. I mean, but you got to want to do it. You got to push yourself every day.
Yeah.
And the integrity is building the character within yourself. The honesty, the integrity, to have empathy for others, to seek to understand, not just respond to people all the time. And cause and effect. You got to learn. There's a lot of universal laws, and you study them universal laws. What comes around goes around. You got to what's multiplied, what ain't. You can't see yourself as lacking. You got to know that everything you have is right there. It's sufficient. It's up to you to take the initiative. You ain't gonna get out of something more than you're willing to put into it.
Yeah. So,
And you
so
can't.
how does this apply to you? So if I were to ask you what your next steps are going to be, and you could clearly tell, like, you got the book that you're going to write and you're going to start doing life coaching, and you could do a Kajabi, and you have these how-tos, right?
Yeah.
These possibilities. But really internally, what I would want to know is, are you committed to do what it takes to create those, or is it just fun to talk about it? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. That's where it comes back to the following through.
Yep. Yeah. So how will we know? How will we be able to see what you're creating, and how will we know that that was from the vision that Mike had? That um, it wasn't a case of Mike knows all the information and he knows what to say. It was Mike changed his life, and we could see it in this way. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
What would that look like?
Uh, uh, um, well, the book's gonna be published. My company's gonna be moving to the next level. My
Yeah.
house is being built. I'm gonna have things the way I've
I
envisioned. I'm gonna follow through on the vision, keeping that overall. Keep the big picture in mind. Filling in the gaps, reaching from here to there every day, taking the next step, and doing what's necessary. Every day to reach that next level. Knowing what to do, to having the discernment. To keep your actions in line with your intentions. You got to reevaluate everything on a regular basis. To know what's working and what isn't. Because if you ain't willing to look at your behaviors on a daily basis, you're not gonna see what's working and what ain't. We tend to do the things that we shouldn't do, and we got to talk ourselves into doing the things that we should do every day. And
yeah. Can I offer something here? I hear you say, you keep using the language you and we, and you speak from a space of almost speaking for others or speaking to others.
Yeah.
And the shift that I would offer here, and you can try this on, and if it fits for you, try it. And if not, that's okay. But I would offer to change that from the language of we and you to Mike, to I. So instead of speaking to others, like, this is what I'm doing for me. I'm committed to this. I'm doing this. I'm going to step into that, and in that, create an inspiration. Now, if you're coaching somebody and you're having a dialogue, I can understand that. Where we're talking right now, this is Mike's creation, right? This is Mike's vision of his world. And to really take that in of instead of it being, if you do this and you do that, and you got to remember this and you got to remember that, it's like, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to do this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What do you hear in that?
That makes total sense. You got to see yourself. You got to see it in yourself. Now that's goes into a lot of what I tell people, because like they say, what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. And that's what I tell my son all the time. He wants to play pool, and whenever we go up to the pool table and everything else like that, I don't. That's the first thing you got to be able to see yourself doing. If you can't see yourself making the shot, don't even try it, because you ain't going to do it. But you got to be able to see yourself doing it before you're going to be able to.
Yeah. Did you notice that vision? Right? Did you notice you went right back into it?
Yes, I did. I noticed that. I projected elsewhere. Yeah. I did that.
I can see Mike really shifting his life if he speaks from that. I am. I am Mike. I am Mike Baker. I am creating.
I'm the one doing it.
Yep. I'm the one that sees the changes. I'm the one that goes out there and creates the book. I'm the one, because it could be easy to tell everybody else all the advice and wisdom and never hear it for yourself.
Yeah.
And I'd invite you to sit with that, is just really hear it for yourself. Like, I am Mike Baker, and I have a lot of potential in me. I have the ability to write a book and to create a company that will shift the world.
Yes. And I have, and throughout my life, there's a lot of things that I have done. When I first went to rehab, well, the last rehab I went into back in '89 was the Hope House. When I went into the rehab, they made people stand in the corners and wear dunce caps and stuff like that. And Bishop Hubbard, he was the head of Catholic Charities at the time. I think he still is. And I told him, I ain't going to do that. He's like, what? I said, I ain't doing that. I ain't standing in no corner putting no dunce cap on. And, back then the mentality was you got to tear people down in order to build them back up and everything else like that. No. I'm here to better my life. I ain't going to belittle myself,
Yeah, good for you.
And
good for you.
And he told me, he said, if you know a better way the program should run, you develop it and we'll implement it. And I said, okay. And within 2 weeks, I developed the way that rehab should run, and they did implement it, And within the first 6 months being in rehab, I got my GED and started college. All within the first 6 months, I got my GED and started college while I was still in rehab.
See, that's the power of Mike right there. See, when you show up and you empower yourself and you don't let others' words belittle you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that they belittled you, it's that you let their words belittle you and you take on that as ownership, then it's easy to live into that small living. And so to be able to take that on and say, I'm not going to be belittled. I'm going to find a better solution and create it and then implement it. That's what's going to be needed when you go into this creation of your book to finish it out. You know, I'd love to see the book. I'd love to see it go from this thought and this idea to a real tangible book that I can put in my hands. You know,
it will be. I mean,
I believe you.
I've already got the publishers all set and everything else like that. I've already paid for the publishing and everything. I just got to submit the manuscript, and then it will be available within the next 6 months.
Okay. Well, let's see that. I'd love to see that. Will you share that with us when you're there?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. Okay, cool.
I plan on selling 1 million copies. I want to hit the New York Times bestseller list.
Awesome.
With Bob Berg and his book, The Go Giver.
Yep.
That's a great book too. And then my other friend Sybil Tahar, she just published her book, Chasing Kindness with the Wind. And went with her and promoting her book and stuff. She hit the New York Times bestseller list with her book. So everybody I've been dealing with, has done it. Courtney Meadows, she has a Never Settle Sister program. She did her life coaching thing. But when me and her first talked was before she went and got her NLP and everything else like that and everything, and she's really taking it to the next level, and it's crushing it. And that's where I'm going to be at when everything's said and done. I'll be at the top with the rest of them, with Tony Robbins and people. That's how I envision myself for the future. I'm gonna make an impact on the world, and but it's by setting the example, not by promoting everything else. People, it ain't all about money. It's about personality. It's about who you are, not being who you are, not what you have, not your possessions. Possessions, you can't take nothing with you. When life is over, it's like the game of life. You're playing the game of life. At the end of the game, all the pieces go back in the box. You don't take nothing with you.
Yeah, that's some sound wisdom there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what else do you want to share today?
I really don't. I don't know. I mean, you got to step into your. Everybody, you got to be there for each other and encourage one another, and not just love one another. As people, love the life you live. Do what you enjoy most. Don't hold yourself back to your own beliefs. The only limitations you have the only thing that limits you is your own beliefs. And it's kind of, I tell everybody, believe in you as I do. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's a basis for setting an example. To live your life as an example for others. Go live your dream, pursue it. Don't be afraid of it.
Perfect.
If you can do it, other people can do it. Be the inspiration for the next generation.
I love it. Well, Mike, thank you for being on, man.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed it. Anytime we do, I'd be hoping to do it again anytime, especially when the book gets published and stuff. It'll be a little different then, and maybe next time I'll prepare for things a little more. I wasn't really prepared today to actually, but that's okay. That's what you got to be adaptable and be flexible in life. You never know what's going to happen from one day to the next.
Yeah.
Circumstances change. Everything. We got to be adaptable.
You just keep going, keep chasing that dream, keep going after that vision, make it real, like lead it into this reality, because you have that ability within you, and you have access. It sounds like you have access to what you need to create that. And so lead it in, make it a reality.
Yep.
Perfect. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we pretty much covered most everything.
Perfect.
Unless, I don't know if there's anything else you want to discuss or not. I mean, I'm always open.
Yeah, I feel complete, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for being on with us.
Yeah, one other thing, I just what got me into the life coaching thing, which made me want to pursue this area. Like I said, it was when I was going through the divorce and everything else like that. I joined the Facebook groups for people that were going through divorce and people in rehabs and stuff like that, going through
Yeah.
recovery. It was through helping others, trying to help others, and fingering in myself. You can't advise anybody else to do for themselves what you're not willing to do for yourself. You got to be authentic. You gotta, you can't tell anybody else, advise anybody else to do anything for themselves that you're not willing to do for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like they talk about in the Bible, in the churches and everything, the hypocrisy. And when it comes to disciplining your kids, follow through what you say you're going to do, and so that they learn that early, and they know what to expect. If you tell them something you can't tell them no, that they're not going to be able to do something, and turn around and let them do it anyway, because then they're going to get that mentality, that you're not going to follow through with what you say, especially with discipline and everything else like that, because there's a real lack of discipline in the world today.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well,
it's just developing the self-discipline.
That self-discipline is powerful, when we can learn to do that for ourselves as well. And, teaching the kids to do that for themselves, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Mike, thanks for being on. Let's go ahead and wrap up, and keep showing up in the tribe, man. We appreciate you. Keep commenting, keep showing up and sharing. And then when you get your book prepared, let us know. Okay.
All right. I will.
All right. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you bet.
All right. Bye.